Wanted to give you a little update on my unemployment experience. I live in the state of Oregon, and so, the unemployment rate officially is just below 10% right now. This is 2012. Now, these are the official rates, and they're obviously wrong because those people who have fallen off, the official numbers are no longer even being counted as elsewhere in the country. So these official unemployment figures nationwide are completely wrong. I would venture a guess and say the unemployment rate nationally is probably in most states around 20, not 20, maybe 17%. Now, you have different dynamics in different states depending on what industry is still functioning. In most states in the United States, it is the service industry which is offering employment. And I'm no stranger to that because I've always been in the so-called service industry, which means healthcare. Okay, so healthcare is, well, as part of the provider team. I'm not a doctor, I'm a healthcare professional. I was a surgical nurse in oral surgery and periodontics for 25 years, and you would think that somebody with my qualifications could get a job, but evidently that is no longer the case. And the reason why this is no longer the case is because there are so many people graduating from qualified programs, much younger than myself, who are being forced into a much lower wage structure. Now, mind you, I'm not in a union. I'm not unionized, okay? But even the younger people who are ununionized are basically entering the workforce after spending dollars and dollars, thousands of dollars on their education, are getting perhaps an entry-level job at perhaps $10 to $12 an hour, okay? Now, living expenses in terms of living wages, and this is way above minimum wage. It's about $4 or $2 above minimum wage in Oregon. You simply cannot, survive on that wage with one job. Even as a single person, you can't do it, let alone, with a family. So a single person working on that wage cannot possibly support a family. They can barely survive on that income by themselves. And I mean just barely. So the entire wage structure in terms of the service industry is being, pushed down. And manufacturing industry is basically completely outsourced and out the door, as well as IT. Most of IT jobs are being outsourced overseas. And so it is a continued race to the bottom in terms of wages due to globalization, okay? So these big corporations, what they're looking for is the cheapest wages possible wherever you can get them, in combination with other resources such as raw materials and such. Now, in my situation, I find myself to be pretty lucky at this point because I am still receiving unemployment benefits. And there's a common misconception out there that you as an employee are paying for those unemployment benefits, that this is somehow deducted from your paycheck. Unemployment benefits are essentially paid by the employer, okay? But don't think for a minute that when the employer pays into that unemployment insurance, that this is not passed along to the customer or to the client, because it's very much figured into the equation overall. So in essence, yes, we did pay all into this, okay? As far as, being on unemployment, it's keeping me very much alive. It affords me to not have to give up my little apartment, to continue living, at least for the next few months, where I live, and to keep searching for other jobs while I still receive those benefits. It is scary when I see young people having to accept jobs at $10 an hour and not even complaining about it when they don't get any benefits whatsoever, including health insurance or any kind of, pension plan. Nothing. They get nothing. And as long as you're 25, 26, 30, maybe even 35, you don't really think about all these problems that may come down the line once you get a bit older. And this is where the problem comes in, because essentially the younger generation is being indoctrinated to think that they can always take care of themselves, as if there was some extended family out there that's going to take care of you once shit hits the fan. Well, guess what? That extended family is no longer there. Your extended family on the internet, so to speak, your internet friends, your Facebook friends, guess who will take the hike first once you get in trouble? Now, some people, might be lucky and you might get some help from that direction. But rest assured, once this entire economy crashes, there's going to be so many people in so much trouble. Everybody is going to be hard pressed to just survive, let alone help somebody on the internet. So this is the reality we're facing here. If you've got a little cash left, and I do at times, I help people out, I have a good internet friend, for instance. I've known her for quite some time, and she's not only unemployed, she's homeless. Okay, the only way she can even access the internet is through a public library in some hellhole in Alabama. Okay, so when I have a few bucks left, yeah, I'll help out. But I also realize that this is not going to solve the bigger problem at all. It'll keep somebody alive for what, another month before they get so discouraged that they'll, probably commit suicide. So no, this is not the solution. And I'm not trying to draw attention to myself. I'm trying to draw attention to a much bigger problem. Because if people think that you can just rely on your own abilities, that might work for a while, as long as you're very young and healthy, you don't have any other family problems whatsoever, that'll work. Absolutely. But then other things come into the picture, you know. You're working 50 hours a day in some corporate job or some other job, let's say in the service industry. Well, you know, you and your little family are working these jobs and at shitty wages. So how are you going to take care of your mother when she gets thrown out of the nursing home? You know, this is not going to work. You know, this is not going to work. And if people want to talk about survival of the fittest, you know, this social conception that the Randians, Ayn Randians came up with, you know, I mean, how idiotic is that? You know, we're talking about a completely dystopian society here. Completely. So, yeah, if you want to talk about survival of the fittest, I suggest you move to Somalia. You know, it's functioning there. It's very much functioning there. So if this is the kind of society you want to live in, and I'm not being, you know, a racist asshole here. It has nothing to do whether the Somalians are black people or brown people or green. You know, I don't give a shit about that. But that is what this Randian utopia looks like. You know, you can either use your brain power for some sort of common good, or you just simply say, okay, it's me, me, me. And this is, ironically, this is what the Randians are accusing us of, you know, the baby boomers, that was just about me, me, me. No, actually, there was an aspect of that. I do believe there was an aspect of that, but it was not all about me, me, me. This is a falsification beyond belief. And it is, you know, a distortion. You know, humans, the human species is selfish, okay? Just like any other species. This doesn't mean that selfishness has to become the mantra, you know, overall. So, if you think you can just live on your own little farm with your weapons and arms and so on, and just be completely isolated, you know, from the rest of society, good luck. Once your groundwater gets polluted, once your well gets polluted by some asshole corporation upstream, you're going to be up literally Schitt's Creek, because there isn't going to be any water that you can drink at that point. So this entire idea of being completely independent, you know, living in your own little cave, well, that's precisely what you're going to get then, is we're going to go back to living like cave people. And I don't think people are thinking this through, you know. I don't think people are thinking the whole thing through. You know, there are many, many things wrong with Western civilization. I mean, that much is certain. But you can't just say all civilization should just simply be abolished, and we'll go back to living like hunters and gatherers. I don't think it's going to work out too well. Because basically we've already destroyed most of our resources, and if there's any hunting and gathering left, there won't be too much left. That's what I'm saying. So we've got to find other solutions, and we may be too late. We may be too late. It's just an overall assessment on my part. It's not, I'm not trying to be overly pessimistic about this, but you know, this exuberant optimism all around, oh, everything will be just fine, everything will be okay, you know, is equally misplaced. And this is basically all we're hearing.